All right, hot Republican primary and the Florida 2024 endorsements are piling up. This is Florida for, wait for it, it's for President Trump, former President Trump. Florida, okay? Joining me now to talk about that and a few other things, Mark Simone, WOR Radio show host, Joe Concha, media politics columnist for The Hill and Fox News contributor and author of Come On, Man. Come on, I just got here. What's our scorecard? 56 endorsements overall for Donald Trump. This is House, Senate, and governors. 3 for Ron DeSantis, 1 for Mike Pence, and 1 for Nikki Haley. But in Florida, and Governor DeSantis, Byron Donalds endorsed Trump. These are all House members. Matt Gaetz endorsed Trump. Anna Paulina Luna endorsed Trump. Brian Mast endorsed Trump. Corey Mills endorsed Trump. John Rutherford endorsed Trump. Greg Steube, Trump, and Representative Laurel Lee DeSantis. Joe Concha, I'm going to give you first whack at this story.
It's remarkable what's going on in Florida because DeSantis, 60% approval in what was basically a purple state. Obviously, that 20-point win in November, winning in Democratic counties, all the wins that he's piled up. Yet, I think that Donald Trump has what I suffer from. This is from the Gallagher Irish side of the family, and that's called Irish amnesia, where you forget everything, Mark, but the grudge, okay? And these politicians, right, these lawmakers, you know what they're saying? If we cross Trump, he has Irish amnesia. He will remember this. He'll keep a list. He'll check it twice. And then when it's time for election, he will primary me. I don't want any part of that.
That's a very interesting argument. Can I make another argument?
Yeah.
I don't want to take sides. I just want to observe that Governor DeSantis is close to making a fool of himself with his Walt Disney obsession. This has been going on now for months and months and months, and I would argue that it is unseemly, number one. A governor should not come crashing down on, if not the biggest, one of the biggest businesses. I don't like Disney's politics either. Their woke politics. My guess is Bob Iger is going to change that. But whatever. DeSantis should make a deal and stop already. He's not running against Walt Disney for president.
No, as we've been saying, he has no campaign skills. He can't debate and he can't negotiate. Donald Trump would be in a room with Disney working this out. DeSantis' problem was it was easy to slap Disney around. They had that dumb CEO, but he's gone. Iger is here. And DeSantis is no match for Iger, who's 10 steps ahead of DeSantis on every move.
It just looks, Joe, I don't want to take sides. I'm just saying it doesn't look good for him. He's running against Joe Biden or he's running against Donald Trump. Right. He's not running against Walt Disney. He's not running against Bob Iger. He's not running against Mickey Mouse. And I don't know, is there still a Minnie Mouse left?
Minnie's still around, yeah.
Minnie's still around? Well, good, because I grew up with those kids. I love them very much. He just shouldn't do this. And also, one other point. Governors shouldn't attack businesses. I think it sets a bad precedent, okay? And the cause may be just, I don't like woke any more than anybody else. But it's not good for a governor of a state because it suggests maybe as a president he would be attacking business. And that's what the lefties do, not what the conservatives do.
Many conservative writers in media have gone after DeSantis on this for the exact point that you made. It seems like it's anti-capitalism at this point. Disney brings in tons of jobs into the state, tons of revenue. I get that they got some tax breaks, and I get that DeSantis disagrees with their woke policies. And DeSantis has done very well in attacking woke in education. He goes too far, though, when he does it in attacking
That's what I
business.
think. Whatever the outcome is, it doesn't look too good. Do the polls matter here, Mark Simone? Trump's looking good in the polls.
Yeah, he's ahead
of a temporary flash in the pan, like it has been in past primaries.
No, he's ahead of DeSantis in Florida. I was comparing DeSantis to Bush. I would like to change that. I compare him now to John Kasich, who was a very successful governor.
Yes.
He was right up there with Trump in the primary until everybody got to know him. He was too abrasive. He wasn't a great speaker. He had a funny way of eating. All the same stuff we're seeing with DeSantis.
Wow. I hadn't thought about that. You want to comment on that? Scott Walker is another one. Remember Scott Walker?
Oh, you stole my thunder.
I take it back. Go ahead, Joe.
For The Hill, I wrote, is Ron DeSantis the next Scott Walker? Let's go back to 2015. He was considered the front runner. And once the debates began, remember that debate, August 2015, 25 million people tuned into Fox News. Scott Walker was next to Donald Trump that night, and they were about even. And then after that, they went in 2 different directions. Now, that will be DeSantis' moment before anybody writes him off right now, okay? because that first debate is when you will see them go head to head. We'll see if he's still the poor debater that Mark says he is, or will he rise to the occasion? And then from there, Iowa and New Hampshire, DeSantis is still leading in many polls in those two states. If he could take that momentum through those two states, it's anybody's ballgame.
Yeah.
But right now, Trump has the momentum.
Primary polling is notoriously volatile. It just is. I know you don't agree with that. You're looking like the Cheshire Cat, but I'm just saying it's notorious. Can we get away with not Robert F. Kennedy Jr. declared for president today, Mark Simone?
Very good, because he's about 70 years old, so he'll be the youth vote of the Democratic Party.
Good point.
He's one of the few candidates not in a hospital, not sick, has no medical problems.
You see the numbers?
He got 14%.
14%. RFK Jr., then Marianne Williamson gets 5%, and a player to be named later, where people say anybody but Biden, brings the number up to 32% of Democrats. With those two candidates and an unknown person still saying we'd rather have this person than Joe Biden, where he gets about 2/3 of Democratic votes. That's impossibly low for an incumbent. Joe Biden should be very worried, because let's say a Joe Manchin or a Gavin Newsom, who's done a horrible job in California, but at least they're more prominent names. If they threw their hats into the ring, what kind of percentage would they pull if RFK Jr. is getting 14%?
Well, I think that's the significance. I mean, RFK is not going to be president or anything like that, but it shows you how weak Biden is. And Biden's performance today, he had nothing to say. He was not a serious adult with McCarthy over the debt ceiling. Just a lot of left-wing Democratic blather, and people see that. And his own party doesn't want him. Anyway, Joe Concha and Mark Simone, thank you. Cheshire Cat smile. Did I say that? I got to go.